Good afternoon, everybody. What is going on? I am jeffgrantMEDIA, and in today's real user review, we're going to be taking a look at the Flint and Tinder wool-lined wax trucker jacket from Huckberry. Now, Huckberry did send me this jacket for free to test out and review, but all the opinions in this video are mine and mine alone. I did not share this content with Huckberry prior to publication. They will see this when you do. So this is now the full circle. I've done the full lineup now of the wax trucker jackets from Flint and Tinder. So I've done the Unlined, the Flannel line, and now the wool line. So I now feel as though I am very well versed in the wax trucker lineup. And we're going to talk about how I wore the jacket, how it compares to the most closely aligned flannel line version of the jacket, the positives, the negatives, the points of note, and my fit, finish, feel, final summation of the jacket. So let's start by doing a quick spec rundown. The Flint and Tinder wool line wax trucker jacket comes in at $358 USD. That is compared to the $228 USD of the Unlined version and the $298 USD of the Flannel line version. All of the jackets in the wax trucker series are made in the USA from Martexan sailcloth from New Jersey and cut and sewn in Los Angeles, California. The wool line wax trucker is made from an 8 1/4 ounce Martexan canvas. This jacket is wool lined through the body and satin lined through the sleeves. It does have one chest pocket and 2 lined belly pockets. The wool lined version comes in forest, chocolate as seen here, and field tan. So now we are going to compare the wool line to its closest relative, the flannel line version. And the first and most obvious difference between these two jackets is in the name, and that is the flannel line versus the wool line. One has a wool liner, one has a flannel liner. And you can also see that the interior pocket of the flannel line does have the wax trucker jacket label, where the wool line does not have that. The next difference that we can see is in the sleeves, where the wool line version has a satin sleeve and the flannel line version is flannel lined through the body and the sleeves. The next difference that we're going to see is inside the belly pockets. The flannel line has a completely unlined pocket. It is just wax canvas, where the wool line does have a wool liner in the pockets. And the last difference between the wool line versus the flannel line would be that the wool line, to me at least, feels a little bit larger. Both of my jackets are a size medium, but the wool line is made from a thicker canvas and has a heavier wool liner, so I believe that they oversized it just a bit to compensate for that bulkier liner. But it still feels like it fits a little bit larger on me, which allows me to layer a little bit more. Seeing as I will be wearing this in colder weather, I do appreciate the little bit of extra room inside the wool jacket as opposed to the flannel. I am able to wear this down in the 20-degree temperatures very comfortably. Now we're going to talk about how I've been wearing this jacket, and we're going to lead off of something I just said, that I've been wearing this in the 20-degree temperature range, and it has been very, very comfortable wearing the wool-lined wax trucker combined with the Relwin wind zip vest. I've worn that in about 21, 22 degree temperature for a couple of hours outside, and I was completely comfortable. We were walking around, we went to a Christmas village, it was a walk-through thing, you know, it was quite large, so we were outside for probably 2, maybe 2.5-ish hours between standing in line to get in and then walking around the event and walking back to the car. I had fingerless gloves on, and that was so I can easily control my cell phone and take pictures while I was there. But when I wasn't using my cell phone, I wanted to put my hands in my pockets to keep them a little bit warmer, and the wool lining of the pockets was very, very nice as opposed to the no lining of the flannel line. So having the fingertips of my fingers going inside the wool lined pockets when it was about 21 to 23 degrees outside was very, very nice and comfortable. Now I've also been wearing this to work, so it's been varying roughly 25 to 35 degrees in the morning when I'm leaving, and then it's anywhere from 40 to 65 when I'm coming home. So I've been wearing this in a wide variety of temperature ranges, and that has been, I've been mostly layering with the Relwin wind zip vest underneath, but I've thrown like a hoodie. I'm wearing it under just over a button down, a thin button down now with a t-shirt. So I've worn this over a wide variety of clothing. The only thing I haven't been doing with this is what I did with the Unlined and Lined version, is I basically lived in those. I wore them all day at work. This having the little bit heavier liner, I have not been wearing this all day. I might wear it in the morning, and then as I get warm, I'm taking this off. Just because the wool liner is heavier, so even walking around inside the building, I'm getting a little hot and sweaty wearing this. So it's breaking in for me a little bit slower because I haven't been wearing it nearly as much as I wore the Unlined and Flannel lined versions, but it's still wearing the same. There's no wear differences. You know, the elbows seem like they're getting a little more shiny from when I'm leaning on them, maybe a little less so with this again because I'm not wearing it all day long at work, but it's definitely breaking in and feeling the same. So I've been wearing this casually as well. I've gone out to the bar for wings with friends. I wore this out to the bar, wearing it to work, wore it to the Christmas village in the cold, just running errands with the family. Basically, the only time I haven't been wearing this jacket is the early mornings when I'm walking the dog and wearing my pajamas. And that's mostly because my pajamas are completely covered in dog hair and cat hair because one sleeps on one side of me, the other on the other side of me, so I'm covered in hair. So I just have an older jacket that I'll throw on to walk the dog in so I don't get... I try to mitigate the hair that gets on my clothes that I wear outside the house all the time. But I've basically been wearing this everywhere, casually, to work, out and about, and I think I looked damn good in it in just about every one of those settings. And now we're gonna get into the meat of this, which is the actual real user review. And as always, we're gonna start with the negatives. And the only negative I have with this jacket is the same one I had with the other two versions of this jacket, and that would be the unlined cuffs. Now the cuffs being wax and being unlined, it gets your watch face kind of gunked up pretty quick, and it'll last for about a week or two. You know, it's a high touch point, so it does wear off, and it is definitely still waxy underneath, but it does kind of gunk up your watch a little bit. And that's regardless if you're wearing a smartwatch or a regular watch, it does gunk up the watch face. And I find about a week to 2 weeks, it kind of wears in and it wears off, and it's not doing it nearly as bad. Now my watch, it's an Apple Watch. I touch it all the time to activate it, to scroll through notifications, so I'm touching it more. So I feel like my smartwatch is gonna get more gunked up than a regular watch because I'm actually touching with my finger as well. But because it is a wax jacket and there's no liner on the cuff, like a corduroy liner or anything like that, it's the direct wax touching it, and until the jacket gets a bit dry, it's just gonna kind of gunk up your watch face. It's nothing that's by no means a deal breaker. It's just something that I noticed and something that I found that I didn't like, especially coming off using the Flint and Tinder Hudson that had corduroy lined cuffs. I love that. It was very comfortable. It's also very comfortable on the wrist. So when the corduroy's touching your wrist, especially on a cooler day, it actually feels really nice. It doesn't have that first cold touch when the cold wax touches your wrist, the corduroy touching. So it's a little more comfortable to wear in these colder months when you're wearing a jacket, and it helps to keep your watch face a little bit cleaner because you're not touching, wax isn't touching your watch face. And that's it. That's the only negative I had. I had the same negative with the other two versions of this jacket, but that's really it. So now we're gonna go into the points of note. I'm gonna start with that, at least to me, it felt like the wool line was a bit oversized versus the flannel line, which I really like because this is the heaviest Flint and Tinder jacket that I've worn so far. So I've been wearing this in the coldest temperatures, so I'm able to put a heavier sweatshirt underneath or a vest underneath to help me stay a little bit warmer. Next is gonna be the price point. This jacket does come in at $358. That's pretty expensive, but let's break that down a little bit. We have its next closest competitor, which is just the flannel line version of this, coming in at $300. Then we have the closest compared jacket, which would be the Filson tin cloth short line cruiser jacket. Now that comes in at $350 USD, and that is foreign made. And the next closest jacket that I would directly compare this to, that I have personally put hands on and owned, would be the Iron and Resin Scout. That comes in at $325, which is also foreign made. So for $358, you're actually getting a hell of a deal. You're getting a jacket that is made from Made in America materials, and then also cut and sewn and manufactured in the United States, whereas some of these direct competitors are in the same ballpark price point range, and they are foreign made. Not saying that the materials used in these and the craftsmanship in these other jackets is subpar. My Iron and Resin had great quality. I have not had a Filson, but I've heard their quality is phenomenal. But you are paying for a premium price for a foreign made product, where now you're paying the same price and you're getting an American made product. So you're supporting the citizens of your own country, which is always a good thing. My next point of note would be the color of my jacket. This is supposed to be the chocolate colorway, but this definitely looks gray. This looks closer to my charcoal version of my flannel line than a chocolate or brown version. And for a direct comparison, here's my field tan that is obviously a tan colorway, but the wool line still looks gray. It doesn't even have like a brownish hue at all to it. I will say though, in some lighting, it did have a brownish hue to it, but for the most part, it just looks like a gray jacket. It does not look brown at all. So if you're looking at the chocolate and you want like a deep brown, it's more of a gray than a deep brown. So you might want to go with the field tan or the forest colorway to get that more earth tone. And then the next and last point of note I'm going to say is something I already mentioned, is that this jacket has satin lined sleeves. Now personally, I prefer either the flannel or wool lining to go throughout the body and sleeves. I just find it more comfortable. Mostly I roll my sleeves of my long sleeve shirts anyway, so I'm usually have my bare skin touching it. So I prefer the comfort of it. I will say though that the satin sleeves do make taking off a high friction of like a corduroy shirt, a chamois shirt, or a flannel shirt much easier than it does taking off with a flannel or wool lined sleeve. So the satin sleeve does make getting the jacket on and off a lot easier, especially if you're wearing some higher friction materials. So it is a convenience, but personally I prefer the comfort of the flannel or wool lined sleeve. And there we have it for the negatives and points of notes. Let's hit the positives. And the very first and one of the biggest positives for me of this jacket is the fact that it has lined pockets. I love the lined pockets. Again, when I was at the Christmas Village, I had fingerless gloves on, so my tips of my fingers were getting cold while the rest of my hands were staying nice and warm, but then when I put them in my pockets, my hands were comfortable and warm and cozy. I did not have that initial shock of putting my hands on cold wax. It just felt great and it felt very, very, very comfortable. Next would be that it is slightly oversized to the flannel line version, so it allows me to fit it over a wider variety of layers, which is helping to keep me warm in these days that are actually finally starting to get colder, especially when I don't get to see the sun at all because it rises and sets while I'm working inside a building. The next positive is something that may just be something personal to me, but I came off wearing the Flint and Tinder Hudson jacket, which was a surprise hit for me. I absolutely loved that jacket. It was very, very comfortable. I loved it. It wore great. It looked great. But when I slid on the wool lined wax trucker, because I had been basically living in the unlined and flannel line version, it just felt like home. I put the jacket on and it was just an moment. It just felt great to put on a jacket that just felt so incredibly comfortable, like I was just coming home to sit in my comfortable chair. The next positive may be a reason a lot of you go with waxed gear to begin with, and that is the fact that it sheds water, and this jacket sheds water well. I have worn this in many a downpour and many a sprinkle because it's that time of year where we're getting a lot of sloppy weather, and I have stayed completely dry. The jacket has not wetted out on me. Now I have not been out in an extended period of time. I have been doing some stuff outside or going from the car to the house, the car to the office, and it's been sprinkly, it's been downpouring, and I've stayed completely dry. So the jacket has been really, really good with me in that aspect. Again, I have not been completely soaked. I've not been out in a torrential downpour for an extended period of time. Well, I have, just not wearing this jacket. I wore rain gear, but in the casual wearing of this in the rain, I stayed completely dry and the jacket did not wet out on me. And then one of the last and biggest positives for me is that this jacket is a button-only jacket. I love a trucker jacket, and to me, a trucker jacket is only supposed to have buttons, not a button in a zipper, so having only buttons is great. When you have a button in a zipper, especially if you're using big fat Talon zippers, which are great, they last really well, they hold up, they've never had any issues, but they're big, they're fat, they're bulky, and they're heavy, so when you're just trying to button the jacket, you have that big bulky zipper in the way, but just having buttons on this jacket alone is super positive for me because any trucker style jacket is only supposed to have buttons. But now, I think I hear a knocking. Do I hear it? I do. I hear a knocking. I think we might have a special mystery guest. I think our special mystery guest might have fallen down the stairs. Is our special mystery guest here? Our special mystery guest is Miss Hazel Fantastic. She is joining us.
Tablet.
And now for the fit, feel, and finish of the jacket. Now, as I had said earlier, I did not live in this jacket as I normally would because the liner is a little bit thicker being wool, so it's definitely a little warm for me to wear all day long inside the building. The Unlined, obviously there's no line, the flannel line wearing all day long is pretty comfortable for me. But the wool line is just a little bit too heavy for me to wear all day long. So it is breaking in nicely, just a little bit slower than it has with my other two jackets. But the feel, the fit, the finish has been exactly like I remembered from both the Unlined and the lined version. It's incredibly comfortable. It's definitely holding up just fine. It does pick up a few fuzzies here or there, but it's wax, so that it's gonna stick to it a little bit more than just a regular cotton jacket would be. But other than that, I mean, it's incredibly comfortable. I like the fact that it is a little bit oversized again, because I can layer a little bit more with this. This is the heaviest Flint and Tinder jacket that I've tried to date, so I'm wearing this in the coldest temperatures, and being able to put like my 10-year hoodie underneath it, or that Relwyn Winzip vest underneath it. I have enough room to wear the jacket over those extra layers. It doesn't feel like it's overly large at all, but I just have a little bit extra room, and it's just enough for me to be able to comfortably wear extra layers in it. So all in all in, do I think that the Flint and Tinder wool lined wax trucker jacket is worth $358? And the simple answer is yes. I love this jacket. I'm not saying that because they gave me this jacket for free. I bought my first two with my own money, and I absolutely love them, and I'm still wearing that flannel line when it's not 25 degrees out. I'll still wear my flannel line version of this jacket. I wore the Unlined version all summer long. So yes, I do think that this jacket is worth $358. American made, both materials, and it's cut and sewn in America. The quality is amazing. The fit is great. It wears really, really well. It fits in so many different occasions. And Hazel, do you like this jacket? Does it look good?
Starts down.
And it's 2 thumbs up, Hazel approved. So if you're looking at one, I'm gonna say go ahead and grab one. You're not gonna be disappointed. This jacket is great. 8 1/4 ounce Smart Texan sailcloth, so it's a little bit thicker than the Unlined version and the flannel line version, which are both 7 ounce. And it has the wool liner as opposed to no liner or a flannel liner. So if you like this video or any of my other videos, don't forget to like, comment, share, and subscribe. Smash that big red button and ring that bell right next to it so you get notifications the next time I post a brand new video. Good night.